talk a little bit about sort of sales phone calls. And certainly if this doesn't apply to your company, you can skip this video. But some companies still do a lot of sales through the telephone marketing. Now, what does that process involve? And it's just to give you sort of a taste of what's involved. So, and I think it'll all ring true when you hear what we're about to talk about, but it's still good, important to point out. So essentially when someone makes a sales phone call, and I'm no sales phone expert by any means, but you would definitely be hiring somebody to be for you. They call up, they first address the person, they greet them, they introduce who they are, they're with your company. They discover, there's a discovery phase, does the person they're talking to, and I'm not necessarily calling individual houses, maybe they're calling on clients or sort of bigger companies that might buy in bulk from you. They go into that discovery phase, what are your needs, would you have a need for our product? Then they go into sort of the pitch more, if you will, well, here's everything our product does, here's the problems that we solve, maybe talk a little bit about the pricing, that will certainly come up. One thing that always happens or tends to happen is customer objections. They say, well, we already work with somebody else, or your competitor does it for a bit cheaper. We're not in the market right now. So all those sort of brick walls that you'll run into as a salesperson, I'm not here to address them again. I said I'm not a phone salesperson. I would probably be the worst person to handle these calls, in fact. Nonetheless, so you need to handle those objections and then ultimately move towards the sale. So it's almost that sales process again that we talked about, but now it's done on the phone. So it's done through a different method. So ultimately you get to that sale, you get a commitment from them, and you get an order and whatnot, and then the process goes on and you actually collect on the revenues. So telephone sales is definitely an animal of its own. You definitely need the right people in place to do telephone sales, but it can be highly rewarding because just simple calling people might get you the sale. And now I was kind of addressing sort of a bigger scheme thing where you're calling individual companies. This can go all the way down to, think of a local air conditioning company. I get calls all the time. They will have just a sales staff who is calling individual homes saying, hi, I'm with XYZ air conditioning company. Hey, the summer's coming up. It's time to get your air conditioning unit serviced. Would you be interested in? We're having a sale. And then the conversation goes on from there, and they handle the objections, like they're already working with somebody or they don't have the money right now, whatever the case might be. So all that aside, that's kind of the telephone sales process. So something to consider for your company if it's applicable.